Hi, I'm Chris Morrow at ComicCon at Home, and my home is on a boat behind the convention center. And the panel is the League of Extraordinary Scientists and Engineers, More Science in Your Fiction. And we have Jeane Wong. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Did I pronounce your name right?
Oh, exactly right. Jeane Wong.
Oh, terrific. I see you have your ComicCon. You've been to other panels, I see, because you have your name there, your little lanyard.
Yeah, a couple of them. Yeah. Our entire group has been there for several years. I think 2015 was our first year having a panel there. Yeah. So this year was a little bit different.
Yeah, very different. So how do you feel about that?
I feel pretty good. We did a watch party with it, so that, you know, some of the scientists were there live to answer some of the questions, because that was, you know, that's the funnest part for us in our group. You know, there's 9 of us that are on the panel, so that's the best thing that we do, we feel like, is having the kids come up and ask questions and being able to answer their questions. So what we did this year was we just took all the questions we've ever gotten and pulled the question that we get and asked the most, all of us collectively. And so the question was, what is extraordinary to all of us, but ordinary to you in your science field? And yeah, basically I'm the bus driver for the bigger brain. So my mind when that question is asked, because I know these guys, but to hear, because unless they're asked that question directly, they don't even know what to answer, you know? They don't talk about it. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to see. You know, I had to sit down with them one time and I was like, so what do you like, so what is it? And one of the guys was like, yeah, we could totally make a cloaking device to make you invisible right now. I was like, right now, start with that. Come on, man, that's awesome, right? They can see 14 billion light years away. They made a telescope, Nicholas, 14 billion. He's looking for the light at the beginning of the earth. You know, it's just, so it's cool, right? And I have to say, this thing that happened today, as an equity warrior in education, man, this was it. Because so many of our kids and families aren't able to get into Comic-Con, and they've never seen our panel, and never been able to, like, you know, partake in that. And it was absolutely epic that we were able to do that, and they can see it anytime they want. And so I really enjoyed that piece. I hope, you know, post this situation, you know, let's get out of the situation, but I hope that Comic-Con makes this an option for the panels, that, you know, in the future, that everyone, you know, that there's some open source to that, you know. I hope that that's the takeaway from this. Just, you know, there's a lot of people that can have access to this, which would be great. And there's plenty of us that need to be there physically, trust me.
So do you think this is the year of the freshmen? The year that it's all inclusive, anybody can come, you know, they're getting a taste of it. You think that this is gonna keep them and get them hooked?
Absolutely. But I also think it's you know, listen, I've been one of those people that would stand in lines for 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, right? And then you get to the front of the line, and what happens? You don't get in. You spent your entire day there, and you don't get into the panel. So I think that there's plenty of people to get into the panel to fill every single one of those, to additionally, you know, have some open source access, you know, for everybody to check out as well. You know what I mean? Like, I would love to see that, just as an equity warrior type thing. And, you know, there's still panels that I've been going, man, you know, I started going to Comic-Con in San Francisco when I was really a little kid, you know, back in the late 70s, 80s when they came out. And there are panels I've never been to because I haven't been able to get through the line, you know? So I hope so. I mean, yeah, and maybe we can make it more interactive next year. You know, we have time to do that. So I'm excited for it, actually. I think it's a good silver lining to have, that everyone has access right now. I love it.
Let's talk about some of the questions and some of the answers too.
So I was going through my panels. Sorry, they're not here. Dr. DNA, some of the things that, so our question on our panel, we just took one question of what is extraordinary to most people, but ordinary to you. So Dr. DNA, they use ultrasound to, like to communicate to worms, like in Dune. Like in Dune, I was like, right? You're gonna like make spice, like what's up, right? So there's that going on. Ben Frable, who's the collection manager from Scripps Institute of Oceanography, was talking about fish that make electricity and how they produce that. They're nocturnal, and they create that just easily out of nowhere. Angela Zoumplis, who's our extremophile explorer, goes to Antarctica, which, little small trivia fact, I happen to know more people that have been to Antarctica than people that have been to Australia because I hang out with the science community. Right? But so she says that extremophile explorers, some of the extremophiles, they're like Dr. Freeze and they're in this really extreme environment and don't even complain about it. Of course, we're like, how do you know? How do you know they're not complaining? Unless you speak extremophilese, I don't know. Do you? Dr. Tom Darlington was talking about nanotechnology and how, making all these colors, bending light. So, I mean, that was pretty cool. Dr. Lisa Zeigler Allen, who is a professor at the J. Craig Venter Institute, or a scientist there, she's talking virology, which is a hot topic right now, but she's talking about the good viruses and how they literally outweigh all of us humans, right? They're microscopic, but there's so many of them and their carbon imprint could be more than all of us. Of course, Nicholas was talking about how we all time travel and we all can time travel because when we're looking at stars, we're time traveling. We're looking at something that, we had to time travel to get there. And he lays it out in a pretty good way. In our YouTube panel, he's dressed as, Thor, during COVID at home, because that's how Dr. Nick rolls. Sunny Fugate is talking about how we could all just have a superpower, just like the Naval Information Warfare in our hand. It could just be, soon it'll be all our technology to do all of that. And Jasmine was talking about how she became a rocket scientist and kind of her path to joining the arts and STEM together. So that was our panel. Those were the things that they came up with. And for me, I just think it's all extraordinary. So
It does sound extraordinary.
So they all gave us those answers. I was like, man, yeah.
How many people signed up for your panel?
Just over 2,000, about 2,100. Yeah. Signed up for it on the thing. But you know what? So the one thing that I love is I've had to do a lot of education this week about ComicCon, because those of us that go to ComicCon don't realize that people that don't go to ComicCon, there's a lot of nuances that we all figure out about, how to get to the right thing and, get the right prize and make sure you get the right emblem and, like going to the schedule thing and then have it automatically come up. Those are things that are common to those of us that go all the time, but it was great to get a whole different group into that. That was kind of a really cool thing that I saw kind of happen. But that's kind of what we've been doing post-COVID right now, right? Is we're teaching technology and education and technology, and what we're able to do right now is exploding out of absolute necessity, but it's kind of a pretty beautiful thing. I mean, it's like I feel being just pushed and jet into what we used to call, this was going to happen in the 21st century. And somehow it didn't explode the way we thought to, but it is right now, out of necessity, which is kind of cool, right?
Yeah. Are kids asking the same questions during this pandemic as they would before? Are they still interested in just the cool rad science, or are they become asking more complex questions?
Well, I think a little bit of both. I mean, I do live science with kids. I Zoom almost every day, multiple times a day, into classrooms, into all kinds of things, into all kinds of events. That's why I keep my hair blue, you know, got to keep their attention. And we do all kinds of stuff. Kids are really, I found you have to keep it a lot shorter than when you're live. So we do the 20 to 30 minutes, you know, to have them there, but they're really attentive. I get the live animals right here. We could do all that, finding some tips and tricks to do with it. But we've also sent out a whole bunch of science kits actually to their houses because we had them in a warehouse here. So we just mailed them out to kids. We just did a photosynthesis class and sent out to 5 seeds each to 351 kids. Because we're going to do a sunflower explosion all over. So
Great.
you got giant sunflowers. That's us. That's what's up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Jeane Wong, you are incredible as well. You're extraordinary. Thank you so much for your time and explaining this panel, and I can't wait to go check it out.
I can't wait to
Yeah.
check it out too, and so glad to see you, and I hope we see you again next year, and hopefully both forums. Like I'm looking for that. That would be great.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, thank you again. This is Chris Morrow at ComicCon at Home. Appreciate it. And we miss you, and soon we'll see you again.
San Diego!